Yeah, hey man, what's going on? I'm Gianni Alonso, not so famous actor. How about that? Is that a good way to interview me? That's a good way to start
Yeah, you got to jump right in there.
it.
I haven't seen too many of your movies, but the one performance that actually stands out, I guarantee you won't guess what it is. It's the Growing Pains reunion.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I played Chrissy's rock and roll boyfriend, and I was fifth bill. Anybody can play a rock and roll character. Anybody can play a badass. Anybody can play the heavy. Everybody always wants to play that. But Jimmy, as an actor, man, unless you find a way of doing it a little differently, no one's gonna care. And I actually auditioned for Joanne Kearns, who plays Maggie Seaver on the show. Seen your demo reel from One Tree Hill, et cetera, et cetera. I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she goes, don't play this stereotypically. If you don't play it stereotypically, and I believe it, you'll book the job. So that's how I got the job.
That's
And
cool.
it was great working with rest in peace, Alan Thicke, Kirk Cameron, Tracy Gold, Ashley Johnson. They were all great. I mean, bro, the way you would perceive them is exactly how they are in person. They were like a real family unit. They were so kind. I was on the set for what, 18 days. We went out for dinner at least 10 times. I mean, that's how cool these people were.
I did want to ask you because we all do a lot of movies, and I told you I don't pull punches. Do you kind of know because it can be screwed up later on? You could think it's going to be the best thing, the wrong music. A lot of things can screw it up. But from an actor's point of view, do
Yeah.
you get a feeling that they're going to drop the ball?
Oh, Jimmy, you and I have been doing this for a long time. The answer is absolutely. I'm a working actor because I don't wait. If you're going to wait for that last project, you think it's going to make you a celebrity, or you're going to wait for that one, it's going to pay your mortgage. Dude, you're going to be lost, man. You're not in the business. You're not really doing this for the art. You're only doing this for fame. And that's a bullshit reason. I've been doing this for almost 28 years since I graduated from college, nonstop. I mean, I'm a professional working actor. I bought a house, and I'm not denouncing. I'm not making fun, or I'm not, putting hate out there. We're saying it flat, just like you. We speak very clearly. You don't wait. If you wait, you get lost in the wave. I'm in front of it. I don't care what anybody says. I know I am.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because, like I said, I worked with a lot of actors through the years. It should always just be about your performance. I would rather be have a small part in a great movie than the whole movie be bad.
Dude, there's that old saying, when the movie fails, who do they yell at? The lead. I would rather play Robin the Batman. I'd rather have the smaller role. You're absolutely right. I'll dance rings around anybody. I don't care what anybody says. It's not an arrogant thing to say that. It's a confidence that you're
Yeah,
supposed to have in this industry. I live this industry as you do, Jimmy.
yeah.
You've been grinding at making what, over 60 films, I think you have, 60, 70 movies.
Add 100 to it. It's
Really?
160. It's 160. So
160,
yeah,
200 films. I'm telling you, man, it's the passion. Like I said, we're artists. If I gauged my career on fame, sure, I have a huge fan base now, but it's through the year. Let's just say 10 years ago, if I gauged my career on my fame, I'd be very depressed because it wasn't there. It is now because of all the projects: One Tree Hill, Growing Pains, Dawson's Creek, Gotham, all recurring roles. I had 7 to 8 episodes per show. And I know what it's like to be on a TV series nationally where people can't wait until they see the next episode. It's very, very cool. I've had 3 guest starring episodes on a Haunted TV show that's now on Discovery Plus. I can't begin to tell you how many people have emailed me through IMDb and or my website worldwide saying that they saw my episodes on a haunting. I know, this probably might not be one of your questions, but I worked on a haunted house soundstage, and it was like working on the haunted house in Disney World, you're taking your family to, revolving doors, staircases that led nowhere. It was so cool. And to this date, I still quote myself that Hidden Terror, still my favorite episode to have ever worked on.
I remember watching FX2. They chased them into a grocery store, but I remember having that mindset of I would like to be in buildings that are closed to where I could just film and stuff like that. So it's kind of on your point of
Yeah,
being in that moment, being able to experience it, play a character in the setting is it's magic,
it is, man.
you know.
Bro, that's I'm gonna quote you because it is
Yeah,
magic.
I know that there's different motivations. I respect anybody that makes stuff, and you made a lot of projects, you keep going. So you got my respect. but what keeps you going?
What keeps me going is me. This is what I do. This is me. I am married to this industry. Some people just don't get it. Highly motivated. I'm hyperactive if you can't tell, bro. I'm like ADD. I'm all over the map. But I got my work ethic from my parents. My parents are foreigners. They're not from this country. My brothers and I are first generation American. My dad was in Boston doing his residency. My mother was doing her residency in Flatbush. I have to thank my parents today. If they didn't show us how hard they worked to get where they are, I wouldn't have that discipline. My parents were very open to my brother and I. They didn't push us, but they said, listen, man, if you guys really want to get into music, because my mother is very artistically inclined. She's like, I'll buy you instruments. I'll buy you drums. I'll buy you guitars. I'll buy you amps, whatever you need. Stay in the house and practice. And that's what we did. I had a very, very, very big band back in the late 80s called Unknown. The Unknown. We opened up for the Pixies. We opened up for the Smithereens. We played CBGBs in New York City. We toured up and down the East Coast at the ripe old ages of 15, 16, 17, and 18. We had 2 records out on Fetal Records and Merkin. We were in national fanzines all across the country, and that's where my fan base started. The band eventually dissolved because music was changing at a rapid rate in the 90s, and we all decided to go back to school. So I went back home to New York. I decided to get into the actors program. No actor likes musicians for some reason.
It's that whole thing that musicians want to be actors and actors want to be musicians.
Yeah.
So it's a stigma because
It's a
they hate
stigma.
each other for it.
They sure, Jimmy, you said it. And here I am just trying to fit in. So I'm at NYU, all the thespians, and they've all known each other. They all went to school together because they were all from the area. They lived in the East Village. And here I come in with white, blonde, spiky Billy Idol hair and leather pants. And they're like, this guy's a clown. And I'm like, screw all of you. You guys are clowns. Oh, so we clashed. True story. Every time our coaches would give us scene study with a partner, dialogue, no one teamed up with me for 3 years. No one. It was always just me. I was by myself. And I got really sick of it. And I kept telling my coaches, I'm like, fuck's the matter with these people? It's a clique. I said, yeah, to hell with this clique. He's like, listen, I see a lot in you. And I know that you can do these dialogue scenes as a monologue. And I want you to prove to this class that you can. And that's what motivated me into showing everybody that I can do it. And then I started getting the respect from my colleagues. But at that time, Jimmy, at that point, I could care less about 20 some odd years later. Look at me. I'm on television and I'm doing films. Where are they? Nowhere to be found.
So were you big into the theater or you just strictly movies? My original question was try to actually find out the real motivation of Johnny. Some people grew up on seeing movies and just needed to be in them. Or are you just an entertainer that I play the music, I do the acting, I'm just an entertainer?
Acting, I was a musician first. In the band, I realized that there was a lot of acting involved on stage. It's a performance. It's an act that's needed to draw in and captivate your audience, like Jane's Addiction, or like the Pixies. Everybody's got a style, is what actors have. Each actor has his own brand, has his own style, has his own cadence, has his own delivery. I found mine early. The biggest cheerleader was me. That's instilled in me through my mother and father. Again, bringing back the old country way of living and, rely on yourself. Fuck the rest.
Hey, I totally understand that. Remember, I basically make movies by myself and I just
I know, dude.
keep going. And I don't know why I keep going, but it's what I am and who I am, and it's what I believe.
You can't change yourself, Jimmy. That's the thing. Like I said earlier, 5 minutes ago, you're an artist. I'm an artist. We don't do this for the fame. We don't do this for the glory. We don't do this for notoriety. I make those acoustic videos. You may have seen a few of them on
Yeah,
Facebook.
I did.
Yeah, man, right on, man. And you know what, Jimmy? I do them for me. I don't do them for an audience. I never thought anybody would even want to watch any of these videos. I just like to create. I like to perform, take a song and make it my own. It's not easy to do that. Anybody can play note for note. I may as well just listen to the record. But I did it my version at 7 in the morning. And the girl I was with at the time, I will post this because maybe somebody will like it. I said, I just do this for myself. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, I've already shot like 25 of these things. I just never posted. I found out, each video is getting 7 to 15,000 hits on Facebook. And now I'm monetized. So that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Well, we never know where the creative comes from.
You've created a great name for yourself in the DMV and beyond. And I never realized, and I'm glad that you and I spoke
But
a
like
while,
you said, I don't really care. I do it for myself.
right.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like we said, we don't really care. You've created a name. I have a great IMDb score. That's only because there's a fan base and the popularity of people following. I don't care, but it helps. It does help. You're not looking for the notoriety, but the name Jim Traynor goes very, very far in the industry. At least, when you're trying to network and when you're trying to put your films like your Christmas movies together. Um,
Well,
yeah.
I tend to disagree with that. I don't back in the day, I did think my name at one point. Yeah, I was getting free stuff left and right here, come film there. But
Yeah,
it comes in waves. It comes in
it
waves.
does.
But
It
I
does.
never change. It's like I'm going to create this and create that.
Yeah. And you know what, Jimmy? You and I will be the last ones standing as far as I'm concerned, because I don't see you doing anything else, man. That's what I always
Hey,
tell people.
I
I
tell
don't
you, so many people have contacted me saying, so you're quitting again? Because like every year, and they're like, we don't buy it. Stop saying it.
yeah, just stop
Yeah.
saying it. I
You
know
know,
you're not gonna quit,
they're
you
gonna
know.
find me filming and dead. And they're like, just
We'll
leave him
be in our
alone. He's probably just that's what he wants to
That's what
do.
he wants to do. No, man, I'm telling you, Jimmy, it's like there is a difference. And I know and you can spot it and you can feel the vibe when someone is really has a creative mind and they really want to do this because that's what they do versus the guy that needs to be a celebrity in 2 years. Come on, man. It doesn't work that way. I know so many actors want to be filmmakers and want to be actors, walk around with shades on. And, when they're in a club, I'm like, dude, first of all, you look like Diddy, and Diddy's not a good guy not to be like compared to right now. But these kind of guys, they don't have, I'm just going to say it. I always just say it straight. People like that don't have what artists have. They don't have talent. I'm speaking from the heart
Yeah,
because you're in my way. Step aside. I don't need you bothering me. I'm sorry, man. These people, especially in the DMV, there are many. I mean, it's all over. I can't just say the DMV. I love the DMV. I am from
right.
the DMV. My agent says this, Alonso, your job is not to act. Your job is to audition. And that is the truth. Because I know how to audition. And I know how to pull character off a script and make it my own and make it believable. And that the casting director, the producer, the cinematographer that's shooting it, and I could be acting like I'm on a maroon island and I'm supposed to have facial hair. Meanwhile, I'm clean shaven, but they thought because my acting was there that I had facial hair. There are ways of making people see it and making it work if your acting skills are that strong. That's why I give great performances at my auditions, and then I'll book it. I don't know what your take is on self tapes.
I'm not a fan when they send them and they're like reading the stuff, and I'm like, hey, you could have did that 20 times before you sent it to me. It's your chance to make it good, you know?
Jimmy.
And I'm like, you're not nervous sitting at home. What are you sending me something to where you're reading the lines?
And
Right?
you can see the script like this. It's like, dude, do yourself a favor and memorize as much as you can. You don't have to be off book, right?
Yeah, put the work in. Put the work in is the bottom line. Because like we can see things differently. I told you on a private call that, like Vincent sent me a movie to watch, and I
Yes.
can look past all the color correction. I can look past all that because I can deal with that. Just like if somebody's auditioning, I can look past your room or whatever you're up against.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
can't look past it if you didn't try.
But you didn't try. They're expecting you to team them up with one of your favorite contenders. It's not going to work. The casting is a hard web, man. And
I call it bullshit because, like I said, I've seen people that did great in the audition, but once the lights are on, can't do nothing.
can't do nothing.
Yeah,
Can't do nothing.
I actually have actor regulars. Man, he's almost like a beginning nervous guy. To his face, I was like, I don't care if you think you screw up the lines. When I turn that camera on, you become somebody else, and that's what you want.
That's what you want. That is the artist in him. See, he
Right.
has his method. He might be a stutterer, he might be whatever it may be, but then when they say action, his eyes change. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. That's a real artist, man. That's what I'm saying. Everybody has their thing. So he has his method as well as you, as well as I. I mean, we all have our own methods. And
Good actors can feed off of the other people too. But I did find in a couple of movies to where these are my regulars, they were good actors and they were just blowing it. And I'm like, what? But the thing is, we don't know what's going on at home. You know?
well,
Yeah,
that's the hardest thing.
right. And I'm like, something's off. And then you find out, oh, yeah, they got an accident before they got here.
Yeah, right,
You can't clear your
right.
head for something like that.
They had to wait for AAA, and that's why they're a little bit
Yeah,
late and they're all
yeah.
frazzled. But no, man, you don't know what's going. You don't know what's happening, and this goes beyond acting. You don't know what's happening with anybody's lives out there. So like, when people are mean to each other, it's like you don't know what this person's going through. Don't be so mean to them. And that's another thing that I always tell actors. You have to have humanity in your act. You have to have a very deep sense of love. The hardest rebel, let's just use Marlon Brando or Dean for an example, James Dean. They played the toughest and the wild one. Sure, a giant. They were badasses. The best badasses are the ones that are the most emotional and that they feel the most out of all the actors on set.
I actually been trying to study of why older movies are better. And I'll be honest, I think I figured it out.
Oh yeah.
It's not because of the new technology, and it's not because at first I thought it was because it's just too many movies. I really believe it's the reactions. For the
Yeah,
old movies, they gave them enough time. It wasn't even a performance, it's the reactions that we remember of the actors, of hearing something and how they react. They don't give that time anymore to actually see that the person was really believing in it, you
you're
know?
right. You want to, you know what, brother? I agree with you 1,000% because you have to remember the days of Janet Leigh, Marlon Brando, James Dean. I mean, you can go back to even early Pacino. You can go back to David Niven for all I care, all the way back to the 30s and 40s. We gave a lot of time in our performances, the subtleties of a flicker of the eye, not blinking for 5 minutes. It's because those actors were trained. They were all from the Stanislavski, the Uta Hagen, the Meisner technique. That's acting. That's theater acting. And they were able to make a theater acting and into a composite of film acting. You asked me earlier, and I cut you off. I love the stage. I really love acting on stage, but I've learned how to. I can't remember which actor said it, but he said, acting on stage is like a doctor with a scalpel. Acting for film is like a doctor with a laser. That's the difference, man. Films today are terrible because they're not like it used to be. You're absolutely right. Not only that, the Panavision back in the day, if you look at the quality of that clear black and white, bro, you don't see a speck of dust. It's just that clean. You feel like you're being called in. If you watch Streetcar Named Desire, their acting is so good. It's like a performance on Broadway stage, but it was done this big for film.
The crazy thing is, I don't like theater. I would never do it because I want the extra takes. I only want people to see what I want them to see. But when you watch my movies, it is almost like I'm shooting a play because
Yeah,
I want them to just keep going off. I want to see that back and forth ballet between the actors because that's
very
the
good.
moments that
Very good.
they're not cheating it. They're not, they're in it.
And you did the Christmas movie with Vincent, correct? Was
No,
that
no,
no? You
no,
just helped
that's a
him.
whole nother story.
Okay, okay. Well,
I was trying
moving
to
on.
finish the Alien movie and we were going to do it. And then he went and did couples retreat. And then we were
Yes,
going to do it the following year and
yes,
couldn't see eye to eye with on that.
right. And that's okay. But I like what you just said, and it's almost like you and I have the same lexicon because we call it a dance routine. If everybody's acting merges together, it's just a dance routine. Just know your steps. And if you do that, man, it becomes like a stage performance for film. That's all it is, man. I mean, I learned that when I went to the actor studio at NYU. As much as those people hated me, several of these actors have all reached out to me. Hey, nice to see that you're doing so well. You know what they're trying to do? They're just trying to get into my circle now. And I'm like, dude,
You don't want people to actually hinder you because like I'm sure projects they all start, but you have to hit certain things to actually get them to the finish line.
there you go, bro.
Test of Our Love, actually, I wrote that for Vincent for a
Oh,
personal reason, and
oh,
we couldn't make it, and then he wanted to make it over in the UK with his friends,
Uh-huh.
After like a year and a half, I took the script back and made it without him. But I think there was even a time where you were in talks because we were going to go with Charlie, who I knew with
Mhm.
Vincent to pair him.
Yes.
Charlie said no, and I told Vincent to check with you because he brought your name up. But
Yeah.
then it was the whole. But the long story short is they all start off as something, but it's
Yeah.
just like it's like dominoes. Everything has to fall into place to get to the finish line,
It
and
sure
people don't
does.
understand that.
They don't. And I think you and I briefed on that the other day when we spoke. It's kind of it sucks because everybody's all excited and they're motivated and it sounds like a great project, but then it becomes a lot of talk. As like yourself as a producer, like we both understand that the intentions are there, but
Right.
you need to have the right people to make it happen.
Well, what I was saying is all those people that were coming after you, they don't
Yeah.
understand that you're not really being standoffish, is that they have to fit in every project is different. Like I said, I'm famous for firing people I don't even pay, you know, because they didn't fit for that one. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'll call them up on the next one. And I love those actors that be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
After I
sure,
just
why not?
fired them, they're like, okay, fine.
No.
But
Jimmy, you crack me up. Don't ever change your humor, I swear. No, man,
that
it's
shit's
true.
real, man.
You're the most real person I know. Let me tell you, man, when it comes to that, yes, a lot of actors and producers and background, and crew, let's just say that are not as seasoned as you and myself. They're just like, oh, those guys, they're too busy for me or whatever. They're gonna make it without me. No, not necessarily. We might make it without you, but at the same time, it's not like I'm pushing you out. We have things that we have to do.
You just don't fit in that project. That's
That's
what I was
it.
going to say.
Yeah.
Some people, it's just you don't line up. Don't mean that we weren't work down the road. You just
Right.
don't fit here.
You just
Don't
don't
take
fit
it
here.
personally.
Right. You can't in this industry. If I took all my rejections personally, Jimmy, shit, I wouldn't be here on this
Right. You
this
wouldn't have
on your
as many
show right now.
projects.
You can't be so emotional. You can't take things like that because really, man, it's just an industry. It's just a business. I always tell these people, look, for every application that you put out for other jobs, like if you need a 9 to 5, did you get every one of them? No, it's the same thing like this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. This is an industry.
Well, what do you got coming up?
We're working on the Chop Shop. That's going to be taking place. Just read for the new Dawson's Creek. I'll tell you about that at another time. And I've got a new project that we're working on called Lowball, based in 1987, Baltimore, Maryland. This is a very, very, very cool script. I'll tell you more about that, man. I'd love to have you on set, Jimmy. It's been too long. I haven't seen you in person in a while,
Yeah, I told you off camera. We always follow each other. You just don't know
bro.
I'm there. I'm
Yeah,
always there.
I know. You're like the ghost in the machine, man.
But I appreciate your time, buddy. You have a good day and keep motivating.
I will, man. I'll talk to you shortly, Jimmy. Thanks.
Bye.
Take care, Paisan.